Check yourself. Oh, feel that healing beat. All right, heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Heal up. Healing boost. Oh, I like the sound of that. Ooh, I must have this track on repeat. Repeat. Oh, you hear that? You hear that? Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it down. Oh, let's break it. Break it. Break it. Break it down. Let's drop the beat. Beat. Let's get you healed up. Let's get you healed up. Healed up. Healed. Healed up. Yeah, let's move it, people. Let's move it, people. Yeah, let's pick it up. Lucio coming at you. Coming at you. Yeah, time to heal up. Oh, turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up in my headphones. My headphones. Turn it up in my headphones. Audio medic. Audio medic. Audio medic. Move to the beat. Boost. Oh, this is my jam. Time to accelerate.
All right, we are live with another episode of Off the Wall, powered by CGL Console Gaming League. I am your host once again, Mr. Dazzle167, and with me we have a very special guest, a very professional impersonator of Mr. 305 himself. We have Mr. Skateactiondj with us. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. It's been a good day so far. Obviously, we have CGO going through with great games. Also, OWL started, so it's it's been a good week for Overwatch in general. I feel so it's good.
Yeah. So did the Overwatch League start? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I was able to see the games last night and what happened. So
right, yeah. Already Skate is flexing his his Philly fusion. You're not wrong. Hopefully tonight I can flex my pick, which is usually the Houston Outlaws. We'll see how they do tonight. So hopefully they should be starting to play there shortly. But let's get right into it real quick. Okay, so for people who don't know out there, Skate Action DJ is caster extraordinaire. But let us know a little bit more about you. So first of all, let's talk about your name, because the first time I heard or saw you, because I think you casted one of my games previously last season, and that's the first time I had seen you, and I was like, oh, Skate Action DJ, obviously a reference to Lucio. That sounds cool. Because I read it and I was like, oh, if you were to describe Lucio, like that would probably be the best 3 words. Skate, right. Action, and DJ, right? So, but tell us, because obviously that's not the case. Tell us, where did your name come from?
Okay, so way back when, in a previous life when I was a lot younger, because I'm an old man, I was a competitive roller skater, like in high school and right out of high school. So the name came from that, a team I tried to get up and going, but it didn't really end up forming into a team, we'll say. But I did compete on the national level. In 2004, in the summer, I actually competed for the national championship in Atlanta, Georgia. So there is video of that floating around, and I think if you hit up General, he's got it. He was sharing it all in the Discord recently. So there is video of me actually skating, and the DJ part comes from my actual real life name.
Oh,
everybody's always called me DJ. It's my initials, but because I share the same name as my dad, they didn't want to call me Junior, so I got DJ. And then I also briefly worked as a DJ, so it kind of works out. So I was a roller skater and a DJ. I kind of was Lucio.
yeah, you were real life Lucio there for a bit. Which is really good, because unbeknownst to Skate Action, I actually did talk to General No Nips, so we're gonna actually be able to see a clip of Skate Action in action. Roll the clip.
Oh no! Oh, this guy. I'm surprised you knocked enough of the dust off of this clip to find it. But true story. Those skates I actually still have, and they're right over here behind me somewhere. I think they're over in that closet behind me in this room right now. I still have the same ones.
There you go. So you can see the live Lucio action right there. Perfect. So, well, that explains a lot about your name. All right, so let's go way back, right? Because sure. I think me and you both are I would consider myself old in this Overwatch community, right? I consider myself old as well. So let's go way back to your gaming origins. What were you first playing? What led you to Overwatch eventually?
First playing, there's a picture of me that my mother has somewhere, and it's not on the internet, so don't look, of me as a toddler playing the Nintendo Entertainment System, on an old console TV. Those of you know what a console TV is, if you don't Google it, you're, oh my gosh, it was the most god-awful looking thing you'd ever seen. So before, probably a little bit after I could walk, I was playing video games. So I've been playing my whole life. My first kind of experience with online gaming, I would say, would be either Diablo or StarCraft. I can't remember which game first. So I've been a Blizzard fanboy for a long time, so much so that I actually used to play a lot of Diablo 2. Like, I was a fanatic for Diablo 2. That was my game back in the day. I even a little trivia here about Skate. I actually got a copy of the expansion for Diablo 2 2 days before it was released.
Wow.
So I was at what, and that was a big deal because that was one of the big online games before World of Warcraft and all that. 2 days
Nice.
before that, I felt like the coolest kid on the planet because I was on the servers live and there was like nobody there.
Wow. That's actually really
Yeah.
dope. Let's see Minty over there. I might have to lock the door.
Hey Minty, how's it going? We're recording a show.
Yeah. Don't mind us. We're just recording a live show.
I was just bringing
Okay.
the
All right.
charger.
All right.
Alright.
All right. So let's move on. So okay. So obviously Overwatch is something that you're currently doing. You stream a lot of it as well. So what about Overwatch got you into the game itself? So what was it that led you to it?
I think it was first and foremost, it's a Blizzard game, and if Blizzard makes it, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the big selling point. The other thing is, I loved the fact that it was like a combination of a few different things. Obviously, to call it a first-person shooter, I don't think is fair. The first-person shooter aspect is just the mechanics of the game.
Sure.
It's played closer to like a World of Warcraft type where you have roles, or a League of Legends type. It's not played like a first person shooter, so it's very unique in everything that it does, and I think that was the biggest thing that kept me in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always been I feel like a MOBA type game. And there's so much strategy in it that, like when you play Call of Duty, it's just about you fragging out, right? And and I think this, obviously there is an aspect to it where you can do that, but for the most part, it's more about enabling your teammates and teamwork and stuff like that. Although if you play ranked, it doesn't seem that way, but
Those
essentially
bots that Blizzard puts in your game, I mean, it happens.
Exactly. All right, so then let me talk about some of the roles and things in Overwatch. What is your favorite character and what's your favorite role?
My favorite character, favorite role. Anybody that has played with me knows I am a Moira one trick. I do Moira things. I play main support, so you'll see me a lot on Moira and a lot on Mercy, and never on, because General won't let me play Ana.
Oh, okay. So, yikes, a Moira main.
Yes, a Moira one trick. Okay. But I like to be the self-proclaimed best Moira NA, but I know that's not true.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this question. Sure. Very, very serious question. Do you throw out more heal orbs or more damage orbs? Be truthful.
Oh, I'll be truthful. You can watch the streams. I'll let the stats speak for themselves. I have over 30 hours this competitive season.
Okay.
And 11K healing per 10.
Okay.
That means I'm healing.
Okay.
Check the stats.
All right. Okay, because I feel like sometimes a lot of Moiras, and I mean, I play support myself. Obviously, I'm more of a Lucio, but I've played Moira, and the problem I have with a lot of Moiras is the DPSing Moira is just so prevalent. I
can't stand it.
In a lot of tiers, it's almost like I get it. Like sometimes if you go against a Genji doesn't know what to do against you, right? So that's a great DPSing tool to have. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. But all right, so let's talk about the org that you play for, and because I think this is interesting. I've had some of your other org members, notably yesterday, and one of our first guests, which was Dankest. So obviously they're in the higher tier. What tier do you play in, and how is your team doing this season?
Well, I play in the diamond tier. Okay. So yeah, we are currently 1-1 on the season. We have 3 map wins. We had a 3-0, and then last week we kind of got the haymaker thrown at us and blindsided us, and took the 0-3, but we're gonna bounce back this week. We're gonna get it going. We're kind of in a transition of filling out the roster and getting all those final pieces, but we're in a really, really good place right now.
Absolutely. I feel that way for a lot of teams. I feel like I've had that as well personally for my team. So I could definitely see that now. But you have a unique thing in your org that you probably have some of the top players on Xbox, period. Like, I think you have some of the best in, the best to hit the box. So is there any mentoring going on? Is there any do you get like, hey, can somebody help me out down here? Like, is that an aspect of your org that, happens?
Yeah, that's an advantage that an org like this has. Obviously, those that may not know, we kind of put this org together right before this season, and I mean, I know we have all five in a Xbox tiers, and we have a PlayStation tier. I one EU tier now. I can't remember. I've lost count because we have so many teams and players now.
Yeah.
But we are a close group. Those of us that are captains and admins for the team, we do work closely together. So there is some mentoring going on, some looking out for each other. Any tips? It's nice to have an org like that where if you're trying to scrim, you can pull from those other tiers, and you have plenty of people to help you get better and your whole team get better.
Sure. And I feel the same way. Like, I'm part of an org too, so I try to mentor the diamond team as much as I can, at least for supports, and I try to do try to reach out and stuff like that. But I feel like it's good for the organization, it's good for the ecosystem of the league, and and obviously you guys have such a a good GM team. So but let's switch gears. Let's talk about
Sure.
something that I think you are very well known for, and one of the things that surprised a lot out of me when I first knew about you is your casting. I think you are probably one of the best casters, or at least a favorite in my eyes, for sure.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
People want to say, "Well, you're good." I wouldn't say the best. You're one of my favorites. It's like you were going one way and you have to backpedal. Like,
well, here's the thing too, because the first time that I saw you cast was actually one of my games from last season.
Sure.
Back when I had my Kinetics roster, and I think we were going against Pride Star Gaming. And we had gone against Pride Stark in scrims continuously, and we had continuously beat him. I'm not flexing. I'm just saying. So
weird flex, but okay.
So we knew it was gonna be not as difficult. So we were gonna have some highlights. But the best part about, I feel like, your casting was the energy that you brought to a lot of the distinct plays. And I felt like out of everyone that had casted our games, I was like, wow, this guy gives so much energy for when we do certain things that sometimes may not shine for other casters, but like you actually put a lot of emphasis in different people. So how did you start casting for CGL? What was the origin for that?
Excuse me. One of my teammates from last season, when I was on a different org, had actually kind of got involved because we were new to the then OXC, before the rebranding. But he had tried to get in it, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be doing this thing. You should do it with me, so we can be teammates since we know each other a little bit better. It was going to be easier for both of us." We started doing that pre-season, doing some scrims, getting used to it, and then next thing you know, General wants to give it a try, and all of a sudden, No Aim and No Brains was born. and we just decided kind of from the get-go, we're like, we're gonna take it seriously, but we're gonna have fun doing it.
Absolutely.
We are fans of Overwatch, and we want that to come through, so we're just gonna be laid back and kind of call it as we see it.
Yeah, and I feel like shoutcasting in general, especially in Overwatch, for the most part, there has to be some aspect of like real fun there, because there has to be like a genuine experience for casting for like regular sports, which I watch as well. There's a level of like of always having the person who calls the play-by-play and is very serious, and then you have like the John Maddens who are like, this person's out on the field, like,
Right.
like they're just trying to be like but I feel like in Overwatch and in a lot of casting for esports, I feel like both casters kind of have to be that way, just because it's so, it's video games. It's over the top type of gaming, right? So
Yeah.
And I feel like you bring that.
Yeah, we want it to be like, you're hanging out with your boys watching the game. You're hanging out, you're having that kind of conversation. And we want to try and bring that energy. When a big play happens, we want you to know that, yes, we're excited about it too. We just saw it. We can't believe it either.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this, because I think that I dipped my feet a little bit into some of the casting, and I gotta say it is difficult, and sometimes I see people like Sultan and a lot of the other casters who not only commentate or do play-by-plays, but also are with the controller, and they're, going back and forth and doing all the producing and stuff like that as it's going. I mean, that is a level of multitasking that is very hard. So
yeah,
like
I try to do it. I do not feel very good at it. It may come off polished at times, but trust me, I'm just waiting for the wheels to fall off.
But now here's the thing too, because I feel like this season we have quite a few new faces, new casters, new producers and stuff like that who want to join and do, because the league is getting bigger. So we just it just had to happen. Now by all means, you're a veteran at this point. So what would you say to the other people? What do you see from other casts in the CGL? And you're like, hey, maybe I could teach them to do this. What are some of the tips and tricks for casting?
Wow, there's a lot, and you can kind of tailor it to each individual person. But the easiest one, I would say, is to get your seat time and just do it. The more experience you get, the better off you're going to be. The other thing is to go back and rewatch what you just casted. That way it's still kind of fresh in your mind. You know what you missed. Take notes. Figure out little things to look for. Different positioning with cameras. All that kind of comes with the experience that you get from watching things back. You might not realize it in real time, but there are little cues that you can pick up on that kind of help tell you how things are going to go. One thing that I always try to tell people also is keep track of alts. When you aren't sure how a fight's going to go, or where an attack may be coming from, alts are usually a pretty good indicator. Like, you can tell if there's a grav online with the dragons, that's probably going to happen if those are the only two alts. You can anticipate that that's going to happen in a fight. So just little cues like that, knowing the combos helps. And also, just if you get in a tough spot, just go first person on a DPS. That's all you got to do. Like, just go first person camera and just let the DPS run around and do things.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I feel like there's a unique dynamic to esports and casting and stuff like that. When I first tried it out, I've done both the play-by-play, which, by the way, I did it for a game, and I didn't have a bottle of water, and I felt like at the end I was just like
oh yeah, trust me, you saw how many drinks I was taking in the pre-show, because I'm trying to reach over and grab that big gulp that is over here to my side.
Yeah, so tell me about that dynamic too, because I feel like it's unique to esports, where there is a play-by-play and there's also like an analysis aspect. How do you gauge? Because sometimes I feel like it can go either way, and casters can switch back and forth. But what is that dynamic like, especially in the CGL?
Well, it kind of depends on the personal preference. I have done it both ways, and I've even solo casted, which is the most difficult thing to do, I think. Just knowing that you pretty much have to keep talking for an hour straight. It's like doing your own solo show where you're just rattling off for an hour straight.
Yeah.
The one thing to do is to kind of talk with the other person and get your roles out ahead of time. Hey, do you want to do the more in-depth stuff? Do you want me just to tell people what's going on? You just kind of have to set your guidelines and know that, hey, if you hear me hesitate, that's when you can jump in. You have to know not to step over each other. So that's another thing where experience can come into play. And I think the advantage with my situation is General wants to cast with me all the time. So I've got one person that we know each other and kind of know where we're going and the cues from each other. And our style is a little bit different in that it's more conversational. That all falls back to, if you're hanging out with your boys watching the game, this is how it's going to be. You're going to be talking about this stuff and the little odd things that, oh, well, why are they doing this? Oh, I don't know. We're going to bring up those weird questions, or, hey, look at this little thing on the map. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
All those little odd things that you probably wouldn't get in an owl match. So,
yeah, no, and absolutely. And that's the thing too. I feel like, there is a learning curve this season for CGL as far as like, because obviously we have the bigger prize pool, we got a big we have a lot of league players coming through, a lot of organizations and stuff, so we're ramping things up, right? So there's a level of casting that just has to be prevalent for especially for a lot of the top tier games, just to make it entertaining and stuff like that. And there's a lot of situations. Obviously, we're doing this all online. Owl has the benefit of doing it live with LAN, so they have they have a little less problems, right? And they have more resources at their disposal. But like sometimes I feel like casters have that unique mentality of being able to like think of stuff on the fly that maybe somebody who would want to start how to do it might not be able to do. How did that come up? Like, what was some of the things that were able for you personally to get better at? Because sometimes I've seen pauses and I've seen casters just go and be like, hey, yeah, this and that, and they'll go on forever. So what is it for you like in those situations?
Yeah, I just try to talk even if I have nothing to say. Like there's been times where I will just come on. If I feel a dead spot, I'll just tell the audience, I'm speechless right now. Don't be afraid to say the wrong thing. I think is what you're gonna mess up. You're gonna slip up, and you may say incoherent things at times, and things are going to break. It's not going to be perfect every time. It happens to everyone. And then the first time you do it, it actually makes it easier from then on, because you've got that monkey off your back. You're ready just to go with the flow. Just be ready for anything to happen. There's quite a big aspect of improv that kind of needs to happen too. You have to just kind of be thinking outside the box at times. If nothing else, take notes and have things ready that maybe you can talk about if there's nothing going on. Let's say there's a pause that's extended, or there's a disconnect, or there's a team that's having trouble getting into a lobby kind of thing. You can just have yourself a little note. I mean, I can even show you right now. I have 2 note cards still from the happy hour. So I actually use physical note cards and write notes so that I can turn to it if I need to say something, or, there's always things happening in Overwatch. You can fill with news. I mean, there's 1,000 things that you can fill with, and it's just being prepared and having a place to go in case you get stopped.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes total sense, and I feel like that's a really good way of kind of like teaching people who might be new to it, and that's a good resource to have. Let's talk about you mentioned it just now. Let's talk about your show, because you for those of you who don't know, the Happy Hour, which was a show that was also in last season, but I mean, and I'm not I'm not downplaying this at all. It got a major upgrade this season, right? So
yeah,
like major upgrade. So tell us a little bit about it. What was the initial thought? Like, what was your thought when creating Happy Hour, and what eventually made you change it into what it is now? And what is it now?
Yeah, just tell us about the happy hour. What is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the happy hour, the original, thought behind the happy hour was something that General and I had came up with. It was supposed to be General and I just bringing some people on, playing some mystery heroes, hanging out, just talking, getting to know people. And then it kind of morphed into, hey, let's introduce the league to all these individuals within the organization. So we were able to bring on all the different owners and give everybody a platform to kind of get to know them in a more laid back fashion. So it kind of sputtered out a little bit at the end of the season, we'll say, where it just became everybody watching the first person of me playing mystery heroes, and I'm not very good at mystery heroes, even though I love mystery heroes.
Gotcha.
I'm a Moira main, so I can't aim to save my life. So when I roll McCree, it's painful to watch, and nobody wants to watch that. So we took some time off to try and figure out where we wanted to go with the show, because General and I like doing it, and Nips, who's a big proponent of the show, wanted to keep it going. So he wanted to give it a polish, you might say. So we brought in Sultan as well to help us with the visual aspect, and he designed that logo that we have on the show now, which is fire. I don't know how else to describe it. That logo is something else.
It's fantastic. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, Sultan killed it with that one. And then obviously they wanted to throw it on the website, and one thing led to another. And I know the background looks very similar to what you have on the screen right now, but I'm telling you, it had nothing to do with what we had. Logo, here's the story. So the logo that Sultan sent us was on that brick logo that you kind of see at the end of the show.
Okay, yeah.
That's how he had sent it to us. So I was working with it, and I thought, okay, well, what if we just stripped the logo off, threw it in the corner, and threw us up there talking, because we need some visual aspects. And then I look at Off the Wall, and I'm like, I guess relate to the show, but I don't have anything else to go with, and I can only do so much, so I guess we're going with it.
Yeah, no, and it looks, obviously it definitely looks great. And now I'm just gonna say that I'm a noble person, so I'm just gonna charge you like $5 for the idea.
Is that it?
That's
just
it. I mean,
$5?
I don't think it's too much, but I don't want to copyright strike you or anything. Let's not get too crazy, but
I understand.
Yeah. I mean, but no. So seriously though, like last week when we saw, because I think everybody was waiting for the breakdown to come through and obviously talk about some of the new stuff that was happening, and obviously your show was talked about there, and the website features your show in the show part of the website. And it's graphically, it's so great. It has YouTube examples on there. So it is very well polished and stuff like that. Well, I guess what I'm saying is I'm jealous. I'm very jealous.
I'm jealous of it, and I'm on the show. Like, all this stuff got thrown together, and I'm like, man, I gotta perform now. Like, I gotta back this up. This looks good. Like, I need to show up.
Yeah, no, it's very, very well done, very well done, and I think it's a really great way to just bring in some more content other than the games being played, which is a great thing too. Which brings me to another question that I wanted to talk to you about. Now that we're talking about the content and stuff like that, I had talked to Nips on the show a while back, and he was talking about about this show and how he wants more people to create content, and obviously you're doing that. The breakdown is happening as well. What can we what sort of things can we help develop with other streamers? I feel like there's a need. There's a lot of content out there that is being developed by people, not necessarily towards the league itself, but I feel like it can be part of CGL just because it's, content. The way the OWL teams have like a streamer, for them. Like I believe your Philadelphia Fusion have Emon who streams for them, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I feel like there's an open position there for grabbing up streamers who are playing on the Xbox or the PS4 and featuring them on the website and stuff like that. And I feel like there is that opportunity. What are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like that's something that could be done, but I don't know what the disconnect is there. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I would like to see it more. And I know some streamers were given some of the assets to use on our streams to help promote the CGL. I think the big barrier that you would have with that, the big hurdle, is you would really want to vet all these streamers and kind of see the flow and how they are, because they are representing your brand. They then become a face for your brand. But I do love the idea, and I think it is a good idea for the individual teams that are trying to give themselves a name, brand themselves, to have their own streams, like dedicated streamers, almost like the OWL teams do, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
where
absolutely.
You can brand it with your logos and all that kind of stuff to help promote.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that would be a great aspect to some of that. And, I feel like the OWL doesn't really have to feature streamers on their website because they're more or less just focusing on the league itself. But I feel like we have a unique position where we can kind of do that, and I feel like there's a lot of good content out there for people to do that with. So definitely, for sure. And I know there's a lot of people out there who they're like, well, I stream and I get quite a few people watching, but they don't know how to link that.
Right.
What would you say to the streamers out there who are producing content, who want to do that? Like, how do they go about doing that? What would you say to them?
Well, you can reach out to me for one, since I am on the visual, so that does help. So reaching out to the mods and the owners and letting them know, hey, I've got this product and it's already getting this, these views. What can we do to partner with the CGL? I think that's what you have to want to take that step, not wait for that step to get out there, promote yourself. That's how you have to do it. So feel free to reach out to me if anybody's got, some great streams or a show idea, anything like that. I'm always willing to help. You can reach me, obviously, at my handle, Skateactiondj, down there. And I'm Skateaction in the Discord. So I'm always willing to help and lend the advice that may be needed to help promote that for you.
Absolutely. So, and in that same vein, one of the things that came to my attention that I saw you do is that you were actually able to incorporate game chat during your streams into and which I didn't even think was possible, because I kind of tried to fiddle with it for a little bit and I couldn't get out.
It's not possible. I'm just a wizard. So
there you go. So that was unique. And so I was talking to other streamers, I had Scary Dragons on the show, and before we started the interview, we were talking about how his streams could be so much better if the stream could hear the people who he was, playing with, because ideally, you don't want, it's easier to stream when you have when you're in a party and stuff like that, and everybody in the party can hear you. But for ranked, where people are mostly in game chat, I mean, I say that, playing at the high master, grandmaster level, I don't think that exists in platinum or gold.
It's hit or miss in diamond. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as that aspect goes, right? But obviously in some of those you want to hear the people say that. So we'll try to do that in a bit. But tell us now, like, just technically, how did you get that to work? Just verbally, and then we'll try to see if we could try it out.
Some of it's dumb luck, I think.
Okay.
It just kind of happens. I was researching it for a long time on the webs there, the Google, as it were, as us old people say. So I went to the Google and I typed in, how to get the game chat to come through on Xbox, and that is the least helpful thing I think on the internet. Like, there's no good way to put it.
No.
Everything that you come up with will tell you how your party chat works.
Yeah.
And that's clearly not what we need.
Absolutely.
So one day I was messing around with party settings, and I had like jumped out of the party, but I was on the wrong account because I had two accounts online at the same time because I was back and forth with a Smurf. And all of a sudden, I noticed that you could hear it in the stream because I was monitoring the stream.
Oh.
And so I got to thinking, how does this work exactly? So I went kind of to the troubleshooting part of my brain that I use, in my 9-to-5 job, and realized, okay, I have a capture card. It's capturing anything that would be going out to the speakers, essentially, on your TV. If you hooked your Xbox up to a TV, it's going to capture any sound that comes out of there. Well, if your controller dies or goes off and you're in a party, it starts capturing the sound. The same thing if you're in a game. If you switch accounts, the same thing happens. So I initially started by putting both accounts in a party, jumping into the game, going to my, the team chat, and then switching accounts. All of a sudden, boom, game chat starts coming through every time.
Now,
I've even shortened it a little bit recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've figured out if you're just on your account, you go into your team chat, you want to make sure you hit your little left bumper and jump into the team chat first before you do any of this.
Okay.
If you do that and you can talk to people, the first time you do that, you want to hop back out and basically log into your other account. You don't leave the game, you just sign your Xbox to the other account. Okay. And all of a sudden, it just starts picking up the game chat. So your active account will be your Smurf, but you'll be playing and speaking to everybody on your main.
Interesting. I think that's a very interesting thing, and that'll be extremely helpful for a lot of people who are trying to stream console and stuff like that. Well, I think this is the perfect moment to try and do that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna fire up my Xbox. I believe I have a little bit of fired up already, and then so I think I'm gonna switch it here real quick on at least on my end.
Sure.
I'm gonna try to see if I can get it to work. Let me try to get my controller, and then we'll see if we can try it live and see if it works.
Yeah, we'll do it live.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna let's see how this works. I'm gonna switch this to the live settings, Skate Action. If you can send me a I don't know, maybe a party invite or a I don't know if it'll work.
If I have you added on here or not.
All right.
Rip.
Well, it's Dazzle167. That's it.
That's not very creative. All right, let me find someone here. There it is. No, I am not mouse and keyboard. I do have a keyboard hooked up though.
Leaks. Oh. Cut the VOD.
Cut it. No. That is the most convenient thing if you haven't done that. When you start typing, you can actually use a keyboard natively.
Yeah.
To type. Oh my gosh. The day I found that out.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. And I'm going to have to try that out at some point because I feel like that's something that should happen. All right, so we're as far as my stream goes, I'm going to go to the live section of it. So we're going to have Skateactiondj with us on the party, and we'll have him over there. And then I guess we'll be able to hear you from over there.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. All right. Okay. Let's see here. All right, so we're almost in position here. Let's see if we can get this going. All right. All right, so my headset connected. We should be all good to go. I feel like we can. Okay, cool. So let's.
Yep.
I have a Smurf, so I'm going to. Ideally, what would want to do is add him into the party, right? Add my Smurf, correct? Okay, so I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna go ahead and add my Smurf in there. All right, so I'm adding my Smurf, and am I loading up the game as my Smurf or as my main? Okay,
Whichever
okay, so
account
I'm
you want
gonna
to play
go on
on.
my main then. Let's try to do that.
Mhm.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is trick the thinking that
Okay, okay.
the controller there. So what it does, having the other profile active, it it doesn't know which one to use essentially, but still allows you to pass
Gotcha,
through.
gotcha. All right, so let's try this out. Let's see if it works. Okay, so
All right. I mean, we can watch a
no,
video if you
no,
want.
I've seen that 1,000 times. I'm good. I'm good. All right. Let's try to see that. Okay, so we're entering the game. Let's see how this works.
I think maybe to maybe show is to hop into the party, or not the party, I'm sorry, game chat, because we can group into the group chat and show
Gotcha.
house.
Okay, so I can invite you to my game, right? I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Invite party to
Yep.
game. So I'm inviting you to my game and see if we can. Yeah, there we go. All right. So now you're in my game. We're in party. So I'm assuming switch it to game chat on my end in the party, right? Okay, so let's do that. Switch to game chat. Okay, so now it says I joined. Now exactly, yes. Okay, so just so everybody knows that can hear me, right? Apparently all I have to do is go into my Xbox, right? Go to the Xbox button and press the other Smurf or the other account that I'm using, and then so now I'm using that.
Yep. Hopefully the chat can hear me now. Are you registering the level on your output?
I am not actually.
Really?
Yeah. So let me see. Let me see part of this. Maybe it's something in the options for me. Okay, so let's voice chat mode, open mic, team voice chat, group voice chat. Is there something specific about that I should probably? I have it all on auto join, I guess. I'm not sure if he can hear me yet. All right, skate action. Can you hear me? Ooh. I don't know if he can hear me yet. All right, so let's see. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it kicked you out of the channel. Okay, well, I don't think I can hear you still on the capture card. Okay, so here's a question that I had. Actually, do you mind if we just go back to the regular stream? All right, let's do that really quick, 'cause I feel like that might be a little bit more helpful right now. Let me go back to talk show. There we go. Okay, so one of the things that I think is going to be make a difference maybe is do you connect your headphone directly onto your Xbox controller? You do. Okay. Oh, hold on. I don't think I can hear your microphone. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, there. I think it was muted there. Okay, now people should be able to hear you. Let me see. Hold on. Actually no, I don't think people can hear you. Give me 1 second. All right. So should be there. There we go. Talk now?
Check, mic check.
Okay, there we go. I think people can hear you now. Okay,
Good.
so one of the things that I think might be making a difference is you have your Xbox on your headset to your Xbox controller, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then maybe do you think the difference might be if it was, I don't know, if it because for me I'm going in wireless. Do you think that might be? Yeah, I have a wireless headset. Do you think that might make a difference based on?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
I don't have a wireless one, so I've not tried it on wireless. So
Yeah.
the workaround may only work on wired.
Okay. Interesting.
I also don't use the fancy AverMedia that most people use. I have an Elgato HD60S.
Oh, so that might actually make a big difference. Okay. Well, we're narrowing it down though, I feel. So that might be a thing. So hopefully for people out there, that might make the difference. Obviously going direct with your microphone to the Xbox controller and also the actual stream card that you have available to you. So that might make the difference itself. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, I feel like we hit on all aspects of the show so far. Skate Action, thank you very much for being a part of the show. It was very cool. I like talking about all the casting stuff. I always learn a lot from these interviews, so I appreciate you coming on the show very much. I know you have a few things to plug. Let the people know when the happy hour is coming. If you have anything else to plug, make sure you plug that as well.
I think I lost your audio.
Oh, did you? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can let me see if I can get my audio working here real quick. Okay, can you hear me now? Is it working now? No? Uh-oh. All right, hold on. Hi. All right, let's see. That's that. Okay, can you still not hear me? No hearing? No? All right. Okay. Okay. All right, so here's what we'll do.
I'm trying to listen to the stream check, but yeah, I got nothing.
Oh, damn. Okay. I don't know what else it could be. I'm just going to communicate through the chat real quick. All right, here, hold on. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to Discord you real quick. Here.
Look at that picture. Oh no.
Can you?
Look my stuff. Okay, cool. So, yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Skateactiondj, just like it shows underneath my picture. The same with Twitch. If you want to follow and see the streams and all that kind of stuff, I'm Skateactiondj on Twitch. In the Discord, I'm Skateaction. The happy hour is every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and you can follow the show at happyhour_show on Twitter. I think that is about it for all the plugs. I don't really have anything else going other than the show and the streams, but it keeps me awfully busy.
All right, perfect. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I think this was a great experience and stuff like that. Guys, we're going to end the show here, and we are going to go ahead and raid a prominent member of the community so that they know that we're rating them from Off the Wall. So let them know that you're coming from over here, and guys, I will talk to you later. All right, so we're gonna raid them in a little bit. Make sure that whoever's still in chat knows that we're going to see if we can raid Worth Shatter. Worth Shatter. I think I'm writing that correctly. Worth Shatter. All right. So we're gonna raid Worth Shadow with a few viewers here at the end of the show. All right, here we go. Raid. All right, guys, and I will see you all later. Bye. I don't know.
All right, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. F it up. Oh, I'm in the groove. Back in the mix. Check yourself. Oh, feel that healing beat. All right, heal up. Heal up. Heal up.